Good morning, students, and welcome back to history. Yes, so I hope all of you watched yesterday's video, and we had started with the second chapter of history from trade to territory, where we saw the British East India Company entering into India on with the idea of doing trade with India for a trade for spices, trade for cotton, silk, all these things was what made the British East India Company, the Dutch East India Company, the French East India Company, all these companies from Europe, they came into India for doing trade. But soon the British East India Company realized that without occupying territory in India, it would be very, very difficult for them to do trade or business in India because they do not have control of most of the aspects. And as we have seen, India at that time in history was ruled by multiple kingdoms, multiple different small kings, no single leader over there, and literally no unity. So that was the situation of India at that time in history, and the Britishers clearly took a lot of advantage of it. And then, in order to occupy more and more territory, they also had three laws, that is, the claim to paramountcy, the doctrine of lapse, and the subsidiary alliance. And with these three laws, they saw to it that they were able to control a majority part of India. So what we have in front of you right now on your screens is three different maps of India at three different times of history. The gap between this is almost of 60 years. If you see, the first map is of 1797, wherein the orange color areas or the slightly pinkish color areas are the areas which are not under the British rule. By the time of 1840, quite a few areas have turned yellow, that is, the yellow part is under British rule. And by the time of 1857, we have seen almost more than 50% of India is under the British rule. They have all become colonies of the British Raj. So that is the year 1857, wherein more than 50% of India is under British control. And all of these areas under British control are mainly due to the three laws which were put in by the British, that is the doctrine of lapse, the claim to paramountcy, and the subsidiary alliance. These are very three important laws which were framed by the Britishers by different governor generals at different points of time during their rule, and you need to read about it definitely in your textbooks. Please keep them in mind because they are very important to going forward also in the further lessons in this history. Right, going forward in this lesson, a little bit small part is left. Let us complete that. So once the majority part of India was under the British rule, a new administration. Warren Hastings was the first Governor General of India from 1773 to 1785. He brought about many changes in the administration, especially in the sphere of justice. Now, what Warren Hastings did was he brought about many kinds of changes. He brought about the difference between civil law and criminal law. He established many courts in India. He brought about a specific kind of administration, a district level of administration in majority parts of India. And he saw to it that the administration was uniform in all the parts of India, irrespective of the kings who were ruling those parts of India. So Warren Hastings is mainly known for his administrative capabilities, for all the different kinds of administrative techniques that he introduced in India, and he was present in India for quite a long period, almost 12 years. He was the Governor General from the year 1773 to 1785. So thus the East India Company was formed, transformed from a trading company to a territorial colonial power. Now this word colonial power, this word colony, colonial forces, colonial soldiers, this word colonial will come to you very constantly on almost each and every lesson in your 8th standard history. The word colony or the word colonial is used whichever part of India is under the power of a foreign administration. Over here, particularly, it is the British administration or the British Raj, the British East India Company. They were having control they were ruling over the territories of India, and those territories were called as colonial territories. The soldiers in those territories were called as colonial soldiers, and the entire rule or the administration was called as colonial rule. So you need to make yourself very familiar with this particular term colonial, because it is a term which you will come across in each and every lesson in this year's history. Okay, so the East India Company was transformed from a trading power to a territorial colonial power. By 1857, the company came to exercise direct rule over about 63% of the territory. If you remember the map which we had seen earlier, I'll show it to you once again. The last map over here, that is actually 63%. The yellow colored area is 63% of India, which is directly under the power of the British East India Company. So by 1857, the company came to exercise direct rule over about 63% of the territory and 78% of the population of the Indian subcontinent. That is a large number. So you can see that the British East India Company by the year 1857 had control over a large part of the Indian subcontinent. And why this year is very significant is because we will come to this even in the future lessons, about 2 lessons down the line. You will see that in 1857 there was a major uprising in India. We will learn about that later. So combined with its indirect influence on the remaining territory and population of the country, the East India Company had virtually the whole of India under its control. So this is the entire story of how a company which came into India with the idea of doing trade, with the idea of exporting spices, exporting silk, exporting cotton. All these things were what they wanted from India. And in the pretext of doing trade, maybe they never wanted to occupy territory. Maybe they just wanted to do trade, but they found out that it was so difficult to do trade. It was almost impossible to do trade without having control of these places. And in that process, over a period or a span of 200 years, they were able to occupy and control 63% of the territory of India and 78% of the population of the Indian subcontinent. Very similarly, somewhere else we can see that in South Africa, the Dutch trading ships had reached South Africa in the 17th century, and soon a slave trade began. People were captured, chained, and sold in slave markets. When slavery ended in 1834, there were around 36,774 privately owned slaves at the Cape, that is located at the southernmost tip of Africa. So during the same point in history where in India the Britishers were occupying territory, in the same point in history the Dutch had gone to southern part of Africa, they had gone to South Africa, and they were actively involved in slave trade. The natives of the country were removed from that country, they were chained and they were sold as slaves. A slave is a person who is made forcibly to work against his own will, and they are bought and sold in markets like cows and sheep, like cattle. So that is the slave trade which was happening in southern part of Africa in the same time of history where the Britishers were taking control of India. So different things were happening in different parts of the globe, and history is always, you need to remember that history is always seen from one side of a person. Whatever you are reading as history is from the point of view of India. If you read history from the point of view of the Britishers, it might sound entirely different. So you need to keep that in mind whenever you read the history of any place. So that's all for now for this lesson. Quickly recapitulating, once again, we saw the Britishers come into India for trade. We saw the Britishers put in a lot of effort to control territories in India. We saw them fight the Battle of Plassey, the Battle of Buxar, and with this they got the Diwani of Bengal, the right to collect revenue from Bengal. That was the first victory. And from there they went on and moved and occupied more and more territories in India. And by the year 1857, they were in control of 68% of the territory of India. There were three laws which they had put in place, which made it easier for them to occupy territory without fighting too much or without losing soldiers, without shedding blood. The claim to paramountcy, the doctrine of lapse, and the subsidiary alliance. And we also saw that the first Governor General, General Warren Hastings, put in lots of administrative reforms to govern major parts of India. And at the same time in history, in South Africa, we have seen that there was a slave trade which was happening by the Dutch people who had come to South Africa. So this is from trade to territory. And please, all of you, I want you to read your textbooks, mark whatever doubts you have once you come across that, and post them in the doubt section. I will definitely get back to you, and so that your doubts would be cleared. That's it from me. Have a good day. Please stay at home, stay safe, and bye.